You're listening to Story Now. Today's guest is Bobby and Kayla Thompson of Thompson and Co. Salon Parlor.
A little gratitude will make your garden grow. A little gratitude is good for your soul.
I am your host, John Choate, and as always, you're just James Roth.
It didn't change. It hasn't changed. I change my name every 2 days.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing. I'm trying to evade the government.
You're in the witness protection program, aren't you? I knew it. As you can tell, we are still getting used to podcasting. But anyways, yeah. So today we're going to share a conversation that we had with our good friends, Bobby and Kayla Thompson. And, this is one thing that we will talk about often, but I own Storyline Multimedia, have for the last 3 years. James is our fantastic video editor, and at some point he would like to own his own business. So when we are in these conversations with our guests, I think that there are different things that stick out in the conversation. So James, what with Bobby and Kayla stuck out to you the most?
So I think the thing that was most impactful to me, there is a portion where he's talking about having an interview with someone, and they're like, I can't remember the exact wording, but they asked him something along the lines of like, how did you know you weren't going to fail? And like, it was such a foreign, he gets into it, but it basically, it had never occurred to him that they could fail as a business. And I think for me, it was a realization point where it's like, I think you have to be so committed to owning your business and running your business that you don't even put thought into whether or not you could fail. You're just in it, and you're doing it, and you're jumping in. And I think, like, personally for myself, I think with everything I go to do, I'm like, well, what if I fail? Like with everything that I do. Sure. And I think at some point, like, you're either going to do it or you're not. And you just got to turn that voice off and jump in, Yeah. So that was my takeaway.
That's really cool. I think for me, my takeaway was one of the things that stuck out was just Kayla and Bobby talking about how they wanted to create a welcoming family environment. And one of the things that I found really interesting was I wear the Thompson and Co hat a lot. It's like my favorite hat. And so yesterday I walked into a chiropractor's office that we were doing a job for, and the receptionist was like, "You have a Thompson and Co hat on." And I love Bobby and Kayla. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's cool. This is in Coralville. Mm-hmm. And then this morning, I had to go into a hotel because we had to use one of their rooms to take a photograph. Mm-hmm. And the guy at the desk was like, "That's a Thompson and Co hat. I love Bobby and Kayla." And I'm like, this is so crazy. And so I think what was fun about having recorded the conversation a couple weeks ago was just randomly running into people on the street who recognize the brand.
Right.
But then we're also like, we love it there. And so, I think the biggest takeaway for me was that, because I think a lot of people use the word family, especially if you're in the Fast and the Furious franchise, And so, correct. And so, I don't know. It was just really cool to have a real world experience where I kind of got to hear from customers like how much they, appreciated the service. So,
and I would add on to that. I think he talks about it a bit, but just another big takeaway for me was just that being a business owner and being a major member of your community are one and the same, And I think that's really what he's doing and why you get that response when you walk into places and people see the branding.
For sure.
So,
yeah. Awesome. Well, without further ado, here is our conversation with Bobby and Kayla. All right. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for taking the time to do this. And I'm excited to have a conversation today.
Yeah, definitely.
We're excited to have one.
So I guess like one of the things that I'm fascinated is hearing about the story of businesses and how they start. So just kind of reflecting on your journey, how did Thompson and Co come to fruition? How did that start? Obviously you're a husband and wife duo. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Do you want to start or you want me?
I'll start. I guess so. First, we can say how we met. First of all,
I would love to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good call.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to school at a local hair school called La James. I like to refer to it as LA James.
Nice.
No longer there. But you know, when you went to hair school, you had to choose either the barber route or the cosmetology route. And, you know, we chose the cosmetology route because we wanted to specialize in color for the company that I was working for at the time. And going the cosmetology route, you had to not only do hair, which is, I was totally bought in from day one. I loved it. But you had to do the other stuff, you know, the facials, aesthetics work, you know, mani, pedicures. I wasn't as about it at the time. And sure. I was going to get my, I was going to skip pedicure class. Sorry, pedicure teacher. And I stuck my head into the pedicure classroom to make sure that she wasn't there because the exit was through that classroom. So I was going to sneak through real quick. And I, you know, looked in there and I saw the prettiest brunette, blue-eyed girl I'd ever seen. And I said, son of a, I gotta go to pedicure class today. So I went and sat next to her and yeah.
Yeah. Our paths crossed like kind of, I don't know. I went to school up in Minneapolis and then I wanted to move back to Iowa. And so the hours are different for each state. So I was actually only at La James for like 2 months. And that's when we met, just getting my hours to get licensed here in Iowa. Mm-hmm. And so, we met and I was really shy and he was really outgoing. And, he asked me out, we went on a date, and then that was kind of that.
Well, back it up a second though, because first off, when she says shy, like, I mean, I talked to her for 2 weeks every single day, and she would be like, you know, when you talk to somebody and you try to get like, you know, a conversation going, I'd be like, so, you know, you guys going out? Yes. Cool. Are you guys going? Where are you guys going? What are you thinking about? Don't know. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, this girl hates my guts, man. But like, I got to keep trying. Right. So, you know, I was borderline on the line of cocky, maybe a little, I like to call it confident, but maybe a little too confident. Mm-hmm. And I was telling a couple of my buddies, cause I had a couple of buddies going to hair school with me at the time. I was like, you know, I'm going to take this girl out. Like, she is awesome. You know, like I see something there. It's going to happen. And, you know, I talked about it, I think for like 2 to 3 weeks. And finally one of my buddies goes, you know what? If you're not going to ask her out, I am. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to ask her out. And he starts like to pretend I'm like walk up to her. And I was like, nope, done. So I walk right up to her. I'm like, hey, we should go to dinner sometime. And she goes, okay. And I go, cool. So I walk back to the group of guys and I was like, hey, going out to dinner. They're like, nice. Where are you going? I'm like, it dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't ask her number or ask her anything else. So like we had Christmas break coming up right after that. Or there was some sort of break. I don't know if it was Christmas, but there was like a week off that we had, our big long weekend. And I didn't see her, you know, didn't talk, but I was working at a bar at that time. She came in, it was her friend's 21st birthday. And I was the bartender and they were sitting across the bar and, you know, I was talking to them, just, you know, having fun. And after a couple of minutes, I was like, finally, I'm like, hey, so why didn't you give me your number? And she's like, I was wondering why you didn't call. And then we went out and it was,
we were engaged after 7, 8 months.
I think it was even closer to 6.
Yeah.
6, 7 months. I mean, I at the moment I met her, I knew that was my wife. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then we've been married for 11 years now. So
yeah,
awesome.
That's how it started. And then he was working for a salon and I knew that if I worked for that salon that he would be my boss, and I just wasn't going to happen. So sure. I worked at another salon here, and I was steady for like 6.5 years before we opened Thompson and Co. So,
and I had driven by this space for 2 years, literally just, it was sitting open, and I would drive past it and I'd be like, wow, that's a cool space. And, you know, I had a buddy at the time that I would tell him like, just this cool space. He's like, dude, he's like, you need to go do this. Like this, there's a reason why it hasn't been rented. It's because it's waiting for you. You need to go do this. You need to go do this. And I was working for one of my good buddies and his father, who are just, they're still great friends to this day. And I love and I respect everything that they do, and that they gave me the opportunity to get in hair, and they're the ones that were really instrumental in me getting into hair. It was really hard for me to be able to go another way, because like I love these guys. I have nothing bad to say about them. A lot of people leave their job because they had a problem or an issue, or I didn't. You know what I mean? Like I just I wanted to come home. I was sick of driving in the car to Cedar Rapids, and we did the math. It was something like 40 hours a month that I was spending in a vehicle away from my family, and it was, especially with my son coming on the way, and like, Iowa City's home. It's where we met. It's where we got married. It's where we, she's from Cascade, I'm from Chicagoland area. Like we made this our home, and it was like, I have to. It wasn't like I wanted to. It was like, I have to.
Yeah. So I guess going into that, like, did you have this aha moment where you were like, I mean, I'm sorry, you just described the aha moment, but what was it like? So were you scared? So I guess like that transition?
It's funny you say that. So we had a budget that we had been approved for by a bank to be able to go do this. And actually at first we were looking at the place next door, the corner spot, which is about double the size. It was also more than double the rent and build out costs. So we had this number. And when the guy told us walking through it, he's like, well, this is the number. And the number was literally like $5,000 more than what we were approved for. And I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to put a sunglass store in there. I'm going to do like, a coffee shop. Like we're going to figure out all this stuff.
Sure.
And, he said, we go through the whole thing. And at the very last second, and this guy actually built the first house that we lived in too, which was cool. Yeah. So we had a previous relationship, and, he goes, I'd feel terrible if I didn't tell you that the place next door, the guys that were going to rent it, just backed out. Yes, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was kind of like a meant to be. And the moment that we got in here, you said like, was I scared? No, I wasn't. I was so excited, and I was sitting, actually, it was probably 2 years later. I had a young man interview me for an entrepreneur class that he was taking, and he wanted to know, about entrepreneurship and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know about entrepreneurship. I don't know why you want to talk to me. I just cut hair and love my family, and we're doing awesome here. But I'll sit down with you. And he goes, it was one of his last questions. He goes, how'd you know you weren't going to fail? And I looked at him like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how did you know, or when did you know that like the business wasn't going to fail? And I'm like, I have no idea what you mean. You know what I mean? Because it had never crossed my mind. Yeah. Like it had never, ever crossed my mind until that moment. And then once he said that, I was like, oh my God, we might fail. And then the anxiety started. So
yeah, I mean, it was kind of a crazy start. I think we signed the lease. It was during my maternity leave. Okay. So we had just had Logan, and we had talked about it in the past, or like before it, kind of like, should we, would we open a salon someday? What would we call it? That type of stuff. But it was never like, okay, we're going to sit down. Here's our business plan, lay it all out. It was just kind of like, that's the space. We're just going to do it. Yeah. And I personally would have never done it on my own. I mean, that just wasn't my personality. And I have to be like pushed outside of my comfort zone. And that's what he does. So, yeah.
Sometimes too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I went back to my old salon for a little bit after my maternity leave. And and had already started kind of construction. So I told them that. And then, so I was there for a little bit longer. And then, we were just kind of did the build out. We tried to do it as fast as we could. And, I think we opened, that April after, and he was born in September. So yeah, we just dropped him off in first grade today. So it's kind of crazy. Like, I feel like he was our second child, and it was just really fast. It just went, kind of, it was crazy how fast the past 7 years have gone. He'll be 7 next month.
7 years old. And it was funny because we joke, but like for the first 3 years of his life, like he hated me. It was crazy. It was crazy because he didn't know me. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost like we had 2 babies at one time. We had Logan and then we had Thompson and Co.
Yeah.
And it was,
it would be construction, and he'd be in his little car seat. And it's it's crazy to think back on, but yeah, that was the start of it. And
it was crazy how fast things went. Like, here's a couple tips for anyone that's starting a business. Okay,
I'm ready.
Get to know your contractors. Get to know the people that are going to build your business for you. Take care of them. Buy them a case of beer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, talk to them. I think one of the things that was really cool was to get in here and to sit and I was in here for a lot of it, and I would talk to these guys and find out about them. And like, it kind of helped develop what she said we didn't have a business plan, but like the business plan was community, right? Sure. Like, it was like this building of relationships and things like that. Like, even the name Thompson and Co is like, we're not Thompson and Co because we want to see our name in like big lights and things like that. Thompson and Co, the way that name came up is that the moment that you walk through these doors, and I hope you guys feel this, like the moment that you walk through these doors, you become a Thompson. You become a member of our family. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a guest, it doesn't matter if you're a contractor, it doesn't matter if you're a rep, it doesn't matter if you're, who you are. Like, we want you to be part of our family. And that was the biggest thing, like with our stylists too. Like, I mean, they are employees of Thompson Co Salon. If you think that for 1 second, you are nuts. These are our family members. Like, we love them so much, and what they do for us on an every single day basis of coming in here and being able to bring their own unique personalities and who they are and the energy that they bring every single day, but to do it while supporting each other, while supporting us, while supporting their guests, and like to do it where we all kind of gel. Like, it's weird. We joke around about it all the time, but like, you'll watch, like, morning times will come and everyone will start coming in, and like, we're usually dressed alike.
It is weird.
Like same colors. It was like, and it's like different things. Like the other day, like you guys had like 2 peach shirts on, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Now I'm looking at Brandy, and Brandy's dressed the exact same as me. I'm like, oh my God, So it's cool.
No, that's really cool. And I think one of the things that is I have a unique perspective on is we were collaborating before COVID. So I think actually the last project we collaborated on right before the pandemic hit was getting Fran's testimonial. We went over to Carver. Yeah. And but what was so interesting is that was the time period where we were doing all client testimonial videos, and everybody we talked to said the word family. And that was really cool to see. And then not only that, but how you handled the staff and everything during COVID, the fact that everybody's still here, and everybody seems to be thriving. And so I think a lot of businesses have been defined by how they handled COVID. And so it's just really cool to see how you guys did that and how you're back on track now.
Well, I appreciate that. That was there was no manual that we got.
Yeah, I think every business is kind of going in blind. You just handle it the best that you can. But yeah, we're very fortunate. I mean, our staff, especially right now, is just they're awesome. I mean, they're an extension of our family, and it's just great to see them thriving. That's probably one of the most I guess one of the best things in my eyes about owning a business is seeing your staff be able to take care of them, you know, their families and themselves and be successful.
We have a bunch. My favorite question that I hear asked in the salon, and it's kind of, you know, you will see these younger college students coming. We get a lot of college students. It's awesome. But they will ask our staff, so you going to school still too? What are you going to do after this? You know? And it cracks me up because it's like that young woman is thriving. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Financially, you know, benefit wise, like, and just the energy again, like I said, like, and maybe I'm wrong, but they seem happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's really, that's a lot to be said. I mean, there's so many people that hate work, and it seems like they all come and feel happy, and they spread that happiness to our guests. And that's why we're busy, you know? And, you know, we have some that have gotten married while they're being here. They've bought houses while they've been here. They bought cars, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool. They are who they are, you know, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool. Well, and it seems like there's a focus too, not only on sort of creating that kind of atmosphere in here, but also within the community. You do a lot of community outreach events. The first project we collaborated on was the dance marathon, which that was so cool to be a part of. Obviously that was pre-pandemic, but you know,
we'll be back.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I mean, that just the hair cutting event, and your daughter participated in that, which was so cool to see. What's sort of your and just even recently the block party, you helped sponsor the block party. What's sort of your mentality on why you give back to the community and why it's so important for local businesses to support things like that?
I mean, that's an easy one for me. I mean, look at what they give to us. I mean, look what this community has given to us. Yeah. There's been so much negativity over the last year and a half. People have been forced to sit inside and to look at things, and really, you know, sometimes it can create a state of depression, right? And I look at the amount of support that we got during that hard time, right? And I look at the level of support that the community did for other businesses and other people, and like picking up all types of people. And what's cool is we have such a small town feel of Iowa City when you live here full time, but people are from everywhere. And the one common thing that we all have is that we all love each other, and we all want to make sure that we all get through things together. And when it comes to giving back to the community, it makes it easy. You know what I mean? Because again, like adopting the family idea of what we do, the community is our family, is an extended part of it. You know, I know it's been tough on us to not be as involved with it at times.
We haven't been able to do some of the, you know, going into places and doing haircuts or having them come in here just with COVID and stuff. We haven't been able to do as much of that, but slowly we're starting to get kind of back into it. And I mean, we feel fortunate that we're able to give back in that way, you know, like, and not only monetarily, but just to give someone a haircut, you know, it's just time.
It's a powerful thing to give somebody a haircut when they know they feel good. And like to see that level of confidence. We work with a tanager place out of Cedar Rapids and MYP, Mayor's Youth Empowerment Program, here in Iowa City area. Both are a little different, but both are unbelievable causes. If you don't know what they are, I highly recommend you check them out. But Tanager Place is it's a space for young men and young women. You know, I think it's like 5 to 18, where they can live full time. I believe 9 months out of the year. I could be wrong on that, but they get support that they don't get on the outside world. And we've been cutting hair for them once a quarter. We try to do once a quarter. Up there, obviously COVID has made it tough, but these little kids, you will give a haircut to one of them. I'll remember this kid, Aiden, the rest of my life. I gave him a haircut, gave him this mohawk. He's like, oh man, it's awesome. Love it. Goes into the bathroom, checks in the mirror, comes back out. He's like, it's the best haircut I ever had. Thank you so much. Gives me this huge hug. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, damn, I I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I made a difference. And it's like, it had nothing to do, you know what I mean? Like it was all about him, but he made me feel like it was all about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, he comes out and does that, and then he goes off, and then his counselor comes up to me and he goes, you know what? That kid's a special kid. And I go, God, he's a special kid. And he goes, yeah, because there's no mirror in that bathroom. He came out to make you know that you have worth. And I mean,
that's incredible.
that was one of the most powerful moments in my life. And it was, you know, I think about that kid all the time, and, you know, just what a haircut can do, but what, you know, for us too, like it's crazy. Like just the giving, I mean, it's unreal. And you got a MYEP Tanager place. If you don't know it, check those places out. Yeah. They do a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's one of the, when we interview, actually, we talk about that. You know, it's a big part of working here is the willingness to give back and do those types of things, because not everybody wants to do that on their days off and stuff like that. But the group of people that we have, they love it and are excited to do it. And I think it's such a fun time for us to spend time together, like outside of the day-to-day grind, and do those things together. Yeah. So
it makes you remember why we do it.
Yeah.
And it's for people. I mean, if you're chasing money, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a long time to build a clientele and a level of expertise in your craft doing this. And the one thing that if you love people, they love you back, and they give you other chances, and they allow you to learn, and they allow you to get better. And they, you know, and it's cool.
Yeah. So in terms of, like, you know, running the business and balancing that, are you guys pretty good at, like, the checks and balances of, like, oh, I'm too focused on hitting these goals, I need to rebalance myself? Do you ever run into that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that we have, schedule is very important, you know, kind of timelining out. We have a great salon coordinator that kind of makes sure that we have things lined up and be able to do do a little bit of everything and have time to and have time off too. Yeah. But I feel like sometimes, we'll be like, oh, we need to do more of this, or we need to do more of that. And so then you just do it, and just day by day kind of try to keep up with it. I
think day by day, like what you just said, was a big part of it. You know, a lot of times you schedule things out, you do this, you do that, but you got to remember you're in the moment, you know? Yeah. And I think I think that's important. The other thing I think that's important is that we work with beautifully different people every single day, and they react differently to different things. They have different emotions about different things. They have different beliefs. And that's, you know, it's one of those things that we can see those differences will cause people to kind of go up and down. And if you think that a person's just a number, like, you got to hit this number, you got to hit that, you got to do this, you got to do that, you're going to miss out on some of the value of that person. So we definitely go over numbers, and we definitely focus on numbers, but we're sympathetic as well to the human experience, I guess. You know what I mean? And I think one of the things that's unbelievable about our staff is that we start with the training program. We start kind of heavy with, like, this is how things are. This is our culture. These are the foundations that we build upon. This is what we believe in. You know, based on that, let's figure out how you can be your own shining star within this. And when you do that, we really kind of step back and try not to micromanage them. And it's crazy how self-sufficient they are in their job. So you really, I mean, I hate to say, like, over the last couple of years, it's kind of become, I don't want to say easy, but it's, they're such a big part of making it easy for the team. Sure. Yeah. So,
I mean, a big part of our job is building relationships. And so, you know, when we're looking at scheduling, staff scheduling, like, they want to take care of their people, you know, and so they kind of look ahead, take care of that. They know we kind of, give an outline of what we've seen works in the past, and make a successful future. And we just try to get a training system that is consistent. And so kind of no matter who you have, you're going to get that same consistent outcome. Like last week I had a guest that actually me and another stylist, we kind of share, because based on our schedule booking up and her schedule kind of being tight, it just depends on, who she can go to. And I love that, because like I was doing hair and that stylist had a minute to sit and talk to her, and, we were just like conversing. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the space is that you can come in and, have a relationship with all of the stylists, and kind of get to know all of them on a personal level. And that's one thing that we ask the stylists is just, say hi to everyone, try to get to know everyone. So when they're coming in, they feel comfortable, because coming into a salon is sometimes an intimidating experience, I feel like. And so we just want to make sure that they're comfortable when they come in.
Yeah.
I feel that's a really unique thing that we have here, is a lot of times when you get into the salon industry and like, it becomes very cutthroat. Like, this is my guest. This is my person. I service them. You know what I mean? Like, and what's cool about this place, just to expand upon that, is that like we share so many guests. Like, it's not my guest, it's not her guest, it's our guest. And we start that from day one. And like our stylists have done such a good job of that. I had an ankle fusion where I had to be out for, I think it was supposed to be 6 months or something like that, but it was like 3 weeks. But those 3 weeks ended up, you know what I mean? Like, my guests, every single one of them transitioned over to one of our other stylists without a problem. And our stylist did such a good job. It was unbelievable to be, know that you could trust them. And, those stylists rebooked most of my guests with me. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen. And like we try to, reciprocate that all the way through and kind of create that team feel, team feel. It's not the individual, it's the team. So,
yeah. So being in the service-based industry, I'm sure you get a lot of feedback, maybe some critiques. How do you handle, when a client makes a suggestion or maybe would have done something differently? How do you handle that?
So it starts with the consultation, right? And the consultation is one of the things that we train really in depthly. And sometimes we hear that's one of those things that we actually will kind of, work with a staff member on. A lot of the times when you walk into the salon, the first thing somebody asks you is, what do you want? Okay. But you, as the consumer, a lot of times you have an idea, an understanding of what you would like, but you don't necessarily know how to get to that avenue, So it's our job to ask you not necessarily what you want, but what do you like? What would you change? Are there things that have happened in the past? And then we listen to those, and it's our job to formulate what we're going to do in a plan of attack. So we try to have a clear-cut plan of attack before we get started with the service. So because of that, we get a lot of really positive results, and pictures are always great, things like that. Awesome. And being honest with the client, if they can and cannot have that. So when we do get to a bad review, okay, or when we do have something that happens, a lot of places will hide from it and whatever. We like to address it right off the bat. We will, usually if it's an online review, we'll hit them out. Okay. We always go back into the computer system immediately. We try to take notes on every guest and make sure we have like formulas, things like that. We'll go to the stylist and we'll see if the review is real and if the person is real on the reviewing system, because sometimes we do get some fake reviews, which is, oh my God.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see the YouTube page every once in a while. There's just random stuff on there.
It's like, okay. Anyway. But yeah, we try to address it head on. I think what hair is such a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the one accessory you can't take off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody gets a bad haircut or feels like it's a bad haircut or a color or something like that, or something is off, 90% of the time it's a miscommunication to start. And it starts with that
consultation.
That consultation. Yeah. But what they don't understand is that almost 100% of the time it's a fixable thing. And our stylists, like, I know how much they care about their guests. I know how much we care about our guests. Like, we want to fix it. We want to help you out. We want to get you to where you need to go. Like, I have 100% supreme confidence in every single person that's in this place. And like I said, it's a lot of the times a communication thing. So we will attack it head on. And sometimes people don't want that. So, you know, we're supportive, you know.
Do what we can.
Yeah.
I would say in the beginning, reviews were harder. I mean, you just kind of take them to heart, and you don't want anybody to be unhappy. And so we struggled with that a little bit, I think, in the beginning. Like I felt like it was a bad day for us if we got a bad review.
I still, if I see a bad review, it will ruin my day.
Yeah. But I think now we know how to respond and how to fix it and how to make it right. And not every time you can, you know, make it right, but you do everything you can to.
Right.
And we do try and get them back in with the stylist that they had, you know, and fix it. Or, and if they're not comfortable with that, we'll definitely, you know, we'll take it on and make sure that they're happy. And
we try to take ownership of it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like I said, it doesn't, thank God it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah,
but you
it
know
doesn't. I mean, you have to think the stylists, they're human too. They might have an off day, and you don't want to be the client that stylist is having an off day. But, but I think like what he said, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it goes back to the consultation, and the expectation didn't meet. And so,
a lot of the times, I know it sounds weird, but a lot of times it's being honest and upfront and completely transparent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if somebody has jet black hair, to get to like a high level white blonde, it's really not healthy or able to do. You know what I mean? And sometimes we love our guests so much that we want to give them everything. We build this giant statue of what we can get them to, and you know, it's gonna be this. And when the statue comes out with some cracks and you know some rough areas, you know, which is that's human. You know what I mean? Like
Instagram and Pinterest are great, right? But they've changed hairdressing in the way that, like, you used to come into a salon, I don't know, like when you were little, and there would be a book on the table, and you would look through that book and be like, I want that haircut, you know? And now we have Pinterest and Instagram where they see these pictures that, like, these stylists have spent a half hour getting the right picture in the right lighting, in the right, you know what I mean? And
paid for the filtering system.
And it's you know, styled and curled when they might have straight hair. So you just have to talk about those things and, you know, let them know, like, that is beautiful. And we can build on that, but you know, that might not be exactly what it's going to look like today.
See the purple filter over the top of it? Like that doesn't,
right.
You know?
Yeah. So, what's the strangest haircut that you've given?
Oh
man, dude, where do I begin?
I don't know. I mean, been some mullets.
But that's, you know what?
That's coming back.
Okay,
though,
now
right?
it's coming back, but like, you know, 10 years ago, it was a little bit different. I don't know that I've really done anything super strange.
I'm not going to say that this happened or didn't happen, but there might have been a Christmas party where there might have been a Christmas party where one of our staff members and dear friends really wanted a haircut, and there might have been a little bit of liquid courage involved in both of these.
Okay.
And we may have cut it with
some kitchen shears.
And I mean, it looked cool, but it was maybe the weirdest technique.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. I think we kind of, if someone comes in and wants something kind of out of the realm of what we might do every day, that's fun. You know, that's kind of like, that's exciting. And so you don't really look at it as weird, just kind of different, but than what you're used to doing day to day. But yeah, no. We
build haircuts, but we also, there's, you know, like we think about like the building as an architecture thing, but there's definitely an art behind it. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to have the artistic side, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I do a lot of designs and stuff like that. And I used to do a lot of stuff. So especially with barbering.
Yeah.
You know, that hair grows back in 3 weeks. So it's nice.
We had one guest one time that brought in a picture of her cat and wanted us to match her hair color to her cat.
To her cat's fur.
And that was a little bit different, but it was and what maybe wasn't executed properly, but yeah, that
more power to you.
Yes.
I'll be the first to say I thought it looked pretty spot on to the fur myself.
It actually, I mean, it was beautiful color. There was, it was just like, you know, usually people bring in pictures off of Instagram, and that was,
it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So sort of wrapping up, I feel like I could talk to you guys all day, but we have to wrap up because you're starting to have Silas come in.
Yeah.
What is, we've kind of reflected on the past 6 years, sorry.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourselves in the next 6 years? Where do you see yourselves going?
Just growing family,
Mm-hmm.
you know? There's a lot of stuff that is just kind of question mark, you know what I mean? But that's kind of part of the fun. TBD.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously we'd love to grow and add some more Silas, I don't know. It's hard to say because we've had things over the last couple of years of ways of expanding. And sometimes you just have to look at, sometimes more is just more. And if we're going to break up the family that we have and expand on that, we just want to do it right. And we want to make sure it's the right decision. And so right now things are good, but I don't know. We don't have a clear answer for that. But I think one thing we've learned over the last 6 years is, I guess my dad always says time is your best friend. So just kind of, go through it and it'll all happen how it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that you said sometimes more is just more. We've had opportunities to do a couple different things and we've turned them down, and there's something kind of powerful in that, but like with this, like she said, time is your best friend. Like we let this sit for 2 years and kind of watched it. And there was that moment where it felt right. And like, there will be a moment where something feels right again. And we'll just kind of go with it,
That's awesome. Last question, I promise.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody thinking about venturing out on their own and starting their own business?
Understand what goes into it. Understand the time commitment. Understand, a lot of people see the glamorous side of it. It's, yeah, man, you have your own schedule, you make your own money, you do all that. Yeah, but they don't. It is, and it can have great perks. But there's great sacrifices that you have to make with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like great sacrifices. And just understand that you better be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and just know you're going to make mistakes and you're going to learn along the way. And you might not know it when it's happening, but you'll look back on, like, when I first started kind of running the books, like, I had no clue what I was doing, but I didn't think that then. I was just like, I'm figuring it out, you know, and it just becomes easier, and just give yourself a little grace and know that to do it kind of day by day, and it'll be successful if you will it to be. Yeah.
And don't do it on your own.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I mean, even if it is on your own, have a support group behind you. Because to go home to at the end of the day, I mean, there's some days it's hard to turn it off, but I think that's why it's successful too. Yeah. It's because we don't necessarily turn it off.
Not to be corny or whatever, but it's true. Is best partner I ever could have asked for is sit next to me on the couch. And, that support from her that I get every single day, I try to give her, you know what I mean? Which she does a way better job. It's, that is the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Kayla, so much for taking the time. And we'll definitely be watching you and wishing you the best success moving forward. Thanks. Thank you so much for tuning into the Story Now podcast. Before we go, we just wanted to give a special thanks to Justin Goodchild, who wrote and performed the song that you are hearing now.
And please be sure to follow us on all our social media channels, and we'll see you in the next episode.
When you hunger in the tooth, you take your mind off one small truth. No matter what you got, it's never gonna make you whole. Sunday morning, take your rest. Think of all that you've been blessed with. Appreciation will fill up your bowl. A little gratitude will make your garden grow. A little gratitude is good for your soul. A little gratitude